So we're going to start things off as we have been. The most interesting news available, the stuff that we're all looking for and craving, lockout updates. Now, this last week has been fascinating to watch.
Fascinating is right.
If you love train wrecks, this is premium content for you right here. And I'll be honest with you, Brig, I love a good train wreck.
This is Schadenfreude at its finest, for sure.
So, all right, we're gonna get you updated here. We're gonna start with a little timeline first, okay? So you can get caught up to speed if you're not there so far. So first things first, we had at 12 a.m. Eastern time last year, December 2nd, 2021, the lockout officially began. The CBA expired a minute before, and then within like 2 minutes, the owners had officially locked out the players.
Yep.
Now, Rob Manfred sent a letter to fans, quote unquote, letter to fans, that ended with this line specifically. Okay. Now, this is the interesting thing here. It said, I remain optimistic that both sides will seize the opportunity to work together to grow, protect, and strengthen the game we love. MLB is ready to work around the clock to meet that goal. I urge the Players Association to join us at the table. Okay, now let's get in. Where have we been since then, Brig? Where has Major League Baseball and the owners, where have they been since then? Well, I have a calendar in front of me, and it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. Count them, 6 weeks, Brig.
That's as long as Groundhog Day says it will be bad weather.
That's a long time.
It's a long time.
And that was before there was any discussion about the core economic issues, which is what's been holding everything up. And, to say that there hasn't been any discussion, I don't necessarily know, because as we get further into this, we're going to see a little bit more about how players are like, we're waiting, we're here, we're ready,
right.
So that was January the 13th. And then on the 24th, that was the next Monday, they met, and then they swapped proposals again on Tuesday. That was the 25th. And then they said, let's take some time. We'll go back and we'll discuss. We'll come back, which, makes sense. I get it. However,
some time makes sense.
Yeah, a little bit of time makes sense. A week to me does not, honestly, when you're at risk for losing as much money as these guys are. So the next Tuesday, they came back. This was February the 1st. They swapped proposals. MLB said they were going to have a counter proposal that they were going to bring back 2 days later. 2 days later. And instead of bringing back a counter proposal, they said, no, we want federal mediation. They wanted to bring in a federal mediator to take care of this problem for them. And as expected, Friday the 4th, the players rejected mediation. They said, no, we don't need it, because we're here waiting for you. You need to get your act together and get this taken care of. And that's the issue that I have with this whole thing, is that the owners, and first off, I got to say, I think like lockouts and strikes are just like such a funny thing, because these two sides just butt heads so fiercely for so long.
Yeah.
And then once they have an agreement, they're like, okay, let's go do our thing.
Yep.
I don't know how that works.
Suddenly there are no hurt feelings.
Yes. Right? Owners are owners are back down in the clubhouse, shaking hands and congratulating guys on good games, and guys are like, hey, good to see you. Glad to see you around. Same thing with like the GM and everything. But it's like right now, like it's Mortal Kombat, man.
Yeah, it's ugly. And that's why I'm glad they have representatives, and it's not like a free-for-all discussion, first of all. But because there are representatives, on behalf of either side, it makes you wonder, like, every time we say the players are saying this, it's like, are the players saying that, or is it Tony Clark? It's like, well, the league, the owners are saying this. It's like, is it the owners or is it the league president? So like, is it the
commissioner
league
saying this?
Yeah, like where is that actually coming from? And it's, not to be political, but it's like, is that what your constituency wants?
Right.
Or is that your gut feeling and you're going to run it into the ground? Or do you have an agenda?
I do have to say though, that like, this is the one lockout that I've seen, at least in my memory, as far as like being involved and following it, things like that. this is the one lockout that I'm like, I see exactly what they're trying to do. I
Yeah.
understand exactly why the players are upset and what they're trying to do to improve things for the future, because that's always the thing, right? We're trying to improve things for the future of the game. It's like, well, no, you're
No.
not. Like, you're hurting it right now. But I
Yeah.
understand. I can see what the players are doing, because there is no like middle class in baseball. It's been
No.
completely eliminated. And
Yep.
granted, like there are like 2 or 3, maybe 10 guys tops who are responsible for that. But they're also like, but still, like when you're coming in, you deserve to get paid because you've been working for this since you were like 4.5
Yeah.
to reach this point,
That's right.
and it's taken everything you've had to get here. Some guys have foregone school to get to this point. They
Yep.
got some kind of halfway degree so they could get to this point. They don't have, like you and I, we went through school and worked hard to get our degree so we could get a job in the real world, kind of, somewhat, that we do, But like,
We're using our education here more than in any other scenario in the rest of our lives.
exactly right. But like these guys, like they're trained to play baseball.
Yeah, that's
They're
right.
not trained to go out and do something else, generally speaking. So it's like,
It's
yeah,
true.
they deserve to get a pretty good chunk of money for doing that, and then being a part of, and this is my thing, Brig. Like I'm going on a little bit of a rant here, but like
I love when you rant.
I was thinking about this the other day, and it's like I was like, man, I had a hard time siding with the players because the owners are the ones who sign the checks, right? It's like, but they're
Business is
not doing
business.
the
Right.
work. They're not doing the work. That there are 25 guys, 26 guys now in that clubhouse who are putting together all the work to bring in billions, with a big
Yeah,
fat B, Brig,
that's
billions
right.
of dollars to your organization. And those 25, 26 guys, 40 if you want to expand it out to the 40-man roster, those guys deserve to be paid appropriately. And that's where that's what it's kind of clicked and come down to for me, is that like, having been somebody who's worked for a company that I saw that they're basically printing money, right?
Right.
But I saw how much I was making, and I was like,
Mm.
no, I know exactly what my role is in this. And I think I deserve a little slice of that pie, but there was nothing, right?
Right.
And so I left. I pieced out because I wasn't having it. These guys don't have the option to really go somewhere else to make more money, because
That's
this
true.
is the maximum earning potential they have. And so the owners need to pay up. And
I think
them
so.
claiming poor just doesn't sit well with me,
Don't play the poor
because
card with me.
billions is a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. And even if you were in a small market, and I don't claim to understand every in and out and all the economics, et cetera. But what I do know is that the industry wide, if there is an enormous disparity, which there is, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
then we need to go ahead and solve that problem as well, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that the small market teams can share in that big old fat B, and not leave it just to those 4 or 5 teams that print money, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Because
Yeah.
if that's the
Exactly.
problem, if you're a small market club and you're saying, but we're not in that group, be like, well, you are though. Be
Mm-hmm.
guilty by association. So you need to use
Yeah.
whatever influence you can muster and leverage yourself a better position. Like you absolutely have to.
Well, and
That's what
and
the
a lot of
players
what
are
the
doing.
and well, a lot of what the players are proposing is like a solution to the problem. Like, we understand the A's don't have any money. We
Right.
understand there are small market teams that struggle because they don't get the TV deals, they don't get the endorsement deals that the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, that they get.
Yeah.
The players understand that because they see it in free agency. There's a reason they sign with the teams that they do. So
Yes.
the players have even proposed things like a rev sharing pool to help teams meet a salary floor, right? Like,
Yeah.
they've proposed solutions to the problems that have been presented, and Major League Baseball is still sitting on their hands saying, I don't know what to do.
Well, and that's why I wonder how much of this is a popularity contest. That's not the P word I was looking for, but how much of it is a contest or a battle of wills between Tony Clark and Rob Manfred, and not exactly their people, not the people they're representing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I wonder, like, we're not, and that's the problem with this arrangement. Until now, we're not hearing from the group being represented on either side. None of the owners have said anything. They're letting
Right.
Rob Manfred say everything for them. And only recently have we heard from the players themselves. And even then, a lot of them are cryptic. Did you see what Didi Gregorius posted?
I
It
didn't
was
see what
just
Didi
like,
posted. No.
it was a GIF. It was super vague. It was of Heath Ledger's Joker. And it was like,
oh, man.
What does that mean, though? See, because you can extrapolate almost whatever you want out of that. And Didi is a social media magician. So unless you're getting the explicit information like Bauer gives out, where we know exactly how he feels about every single thing, then we're left to wonder. But at least the players are communicating publicly.